if you do any cooking at home, having an herb garden is really helpful, because herbs are something you need very little, and when you need them you don't want to go out and buy the whole bunch from the store because half of it will not be used. If it was growing in your garden, you could just pick a few leaves and you are done. Now, in zone 9 where I am, there are some herbs that are perennial, like curry leaves, oregano, mint. But then there are some herbs that I have to grow every year, every spring. Hi, this is Ruchi, and let's talk about growing basil, sweet basil from seeds. Now, I have made videos before where I show you how to grow basil from basil cuttings. Like from store you buy the basil, and whatever is left over you can make plants out of that. But today I'll show you how to grow it from seeds. So I have Italian basil seeds here, and I have the seedling container with general purpose potting soil mix. I'm going to take out a few seeds. They're usually very tiny. You can see I'll scatter them on this. And then cover it lightly with soil, because the seeds are really tiny, so you don't want a lot of soil on top. And then mist it lightly. And the soil underneath was moist in any case, so they should start to germinate in a couple of weeks. I'll keep this container indoors in a warm place. Basil seeds have started to germinate. It's been about 3 weeks, and you can see some of them are about an inch tall, and some of them are just starting to germinate. So in the last clip I showed you the basil plants growing. They were basil plants, all right, but they were holy basil plants. So I had both the seeds going side by side. This is sweet basil and this is holy basil. So when the seeds started to germinate, I started to make video clip, but then instead of taking the video of this planter, I took the video of that planter. But in any case, you can see that they are germinating. They are not that many, but they are growing well, and there is a marigold plant growing here. I planted some more seeds just to show that they grow pretty well. I don't know why in the previous one only a few seeds grew, but you can see here so many seeds grew. So now you can see that the plants are about 3 to 4 inches tall. So I think it's time that we can transplant them. So I'm going to plant them in these small containers. So I have added some vermiculite to the general purpose potting soil mix so that it doesn't dry up very quickly, because it's herb, and all these leaves, they are very tender. I want to make sure that the soil stays moist all the time. So let's transplant them. So I'll just push one pod from here out. Wow, look at this beautiful root system developing. Just place it here and just fill it up. So I'm not disturbed the roots at all, just took it out and just placed it here, and that's it. Press it around to support it and remove the air gap. I'm going to water it. Then the same thing here we can do. So this is the advantage of using separated seedling containers, because you can just take out one pod and just plant them as is. Great. I'm a little disappointed because not that many plants grew, but that's fine. happens all the time. Okay. Now in this pod there are 5 plants. I don't know if I want to separate them all out, maybe in 2 bunches, and then we'll go from there. Let's see, because we'll be disturbing their roots. So let's see how much we can divide. Okay, gently took out 1 plant. Okay, this is good to go. And maybe here I can divide it into 2, because these 2 plants are close to each other, those 2. We could divide these 2 also in 1, but then it will be too risky, in my opinion. You could try it, but if I can make 5 planters of basil, I think that's sufficient for me. Okay, so we have these 5 planters. I want to mist them because they are so delicate, and I'm going to water them from the bottom. I'll fill up a big tub and I'll put these planters in that, so the soil will start to get wet from the bottom. That is a better way of watering the plants, and because these are too delicate right now. And now I'm going to keep them indoors because it's the beginning of summer, and the sun is really harsh in the daytime. Even if I keep it outside in shade, it may be difficult. So although all these seedlings were outside, so they were already acclimatized. I forgot to mention one thing, that before you transplant, you have to do 3 things. 1, you have to acclimatize your plants, meaning wherever you want to plant them, they should stay in that environment for some time. Otherwise, they'll get a lot of shock. Second, they should be about 2 to 3 or 4 inches tall. And always do it in the evening, so that, if you do it in the morning and the sun hits them, they will get scorched because they already got a shock of transplant. So we are doing it in the evening. They are 3 to 4 inches tall, and I have acclimatized them. So I have fulfilled all the 3 requirements. But now I'm going to keep them indoors for at least 3-4 days, and once they settle down, then I'll move where the seedling container was, and we'll go from there. So I'll keep you posted. It's been a week that I transplanted these basil plants, and they have grown tall and they are looking good, strong. So in the beginning I kept them in shade, and now they just get morning sun for 3-4 hours. And if the sun is harsh, I kind of cover it up. But now they are looking good. I think now I don't need to cover it because they're growing tall and strong. So if you look at our basil plants, they are in partial sun, means there is a tree next to it, so it gets filtered sunlight the whole day. And you can see they have grown so big and so tall. Now we want to make them bushier, because right now most of them have just 1 branch. We want more branches to come out so that there will be more leaves. And in any case, if it grows too tall, it will flop, right? So whenever you are harvesting, the goal has to be that it becomes bushier. Or right now, I don't really need basil, but I want to make it bushier. So you want to prune it. So let's look at this plant. This is tall. So let me take a close-up. So if you look at this, so this is the stem growing, every leaf that is coming out, there are 2 more leaflets growing. You know, these are 2 leaves, and there are 2 more leaflets growing here. Similarly here, 2 leaves and 2 more leaflets growing. And then same thing at the bottom. So if I prune it here, these 2 leaflets will start growing into branches. And then once that branch comes out, it will have more leaflets. And we want to bring it down so that it becomes bushier from the bottom. So I just cut it here. So these 2 leaflets will start growing, and then it will develop more branches. So if this was the only plant, you could just cut from here. So this and this leaflet, they'll start growing. So that's what we want to do. Same thing with this one. It's growing too tall. I'm going to just cut it here. So these 2 leaflets will start growing just above a node, just above the node. Node is the place where the leaves grow from. So just above the node where there are 2 leaflets, you want to prune it. We have all this basil to use, and we have pruned them, and I'll show you the growth over the next few weeks. So it's been a couple of weeks that we pruned these so that they become bushier, and you can see that they have lowered down because we pruned them. And I have been cutting them and using them in my cooking, and they have been growing nicely. They are in a filtered shade area because I moved it to full sun, and then because these containers are small, they get dried up very quickly, so it wasn't working out. So I moved them back into a filtered sunlight area, and they are doing just fine here. So now I'll just keep on using them in the cooking and make pesto or whatever I wanted to make with the extra leaves. And I have plants for all summer long. So pretty straightforward. You plant the seeds in spring, they start to grow, transplant them to a container or a raised bed or wherever you want to grow them. Just make sure that they get enough sunlight. You know, too much is also not good, and too little is also not good. If it is too little, they'll become leggy. If it is too much, the leaves will get scorched, and they'll keep on growing happily and give you so many leaves to use. So I hope this video was useful to you. If you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share it with your friends and family. And I'll see you next time. Happy gardening. Bye.